chapter 22. And they continued 3 years without war between Aram and Israel. And it came to pass in the 3rd year that Jehoshaphat the king of Judah came down to the king of Israel. And the king of Israel said unto his servants, Know you that Ramoth-Gilead is ours, and we are still, and take it not out of the hand of king of Aram? And he said unto Jehoshaphat, Wilt you go with me to battle to Ramoth-Gilead? And Jehoshaphat said unto the king of Israel, I am as you are, my people as your people, my horses as your horses. And Jehoshaphat said unto the king of Israel, Inquire, I pray you, at the word of the Lord today. Then the king of Israel gathered the prophets together, about 400 men, and said unto them, Shall I go against Ramoth-Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And they said, Go up, for the Lord will deliver it into the hand of the king. But Jehoshaphat said, Is there not here besides a prophet of the Lord, that we might inquire of him? And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, There is yet one man by whom we may inquire of the Lord, Micaiah the son of Imlah, but I hate him, for he doth not prophesy good concerning me, but evil. And Jehoshaphat said, Let not the king say so. Then the king of Israel called an officer, and said, Fetch quickly Micaiah the son of Imlah. Now the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat the king of Judah sat each one in his throne, arrayed in their robes, in the threshing floor, at the entrance of the gate of Shamariah. And all the prophets prophesied before them. And Zedekiah the son of Kenaanah made his horns of iron, and said, Thus saith the Lord, With these shalt you gore the Arameans until they be consumed. And all the prophets prophesied so, saying, Go up to Ramoth-Gilead, and prosper, for the Lord will deliver it into the hand of the king. And the messenger that went to call Micaiah spoke unto him, saying, Behold now, the words of the prophets declare good unto the king with one mouth. Let your word, I pray you, be like the word of one of them, and speak you good. And Micaiah said, As the Lord lives, what the Lord says unto me, that will I speak. And when he was come to the king said unto him, Micaiah, shall we go to Ramoth-Gilead to battle, or shall we forbear? And he answered him, Go up and prosper, and the Lord will deliver it into the hand of the king. And the king said unto him, How many times shall I adjure you that you speak unto me nothing but the truth in the name of the Lord? And he said, I saw all Israel scattered upon the mountains, as sheep that have no shepherd. And the Lord said, These have no master, let them return every man to his house in peace. And the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, Did I not tell you that he would not prophesy good concerning me, but evil? And he said, Therefore hear you the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by him, on his right hand and on his left. And the Lord said, Who shall entice Ahab, that he may go up and fall at Ramoth-Gilead? And one said, On this manner, and another said, On that manner. And there came forth the Spirit, and stood before the Lord, and said, I will entice him. And the Lord said unto him, Wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, You shall entice him, and shalt prevail also. Go forth, and do so. Now therefore, behold, the Lord hath put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these your prophets, and the Lord hath spoken evil concerning you. Then Zedekiah the son of Kenaanah came near and smote Micaiah on the cheek, and said, Which way went the Spirit of the Lord from me to speak unto you? And Micaiah said, Behold, you shall see on that day, when you shall go into an inner chamber to hide yourself. And the king of Israel said, Take Micaiah, and carry him back unto Amon, the governor of the city, and to Joash the king's son, and say, Thus saith the king, Put this fellow in prison, and feed him with scant bread, and with scant water, until I come in peace. And Micaiah said, If you return at all in peace, the Lord hath not spoken by me. And he said, Hear you people, all of you. So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat the king of Judah went up to Ramoth Gilead. And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, I will disguise myself and go into the battle, but put you on your robes. And the king of Israel disguised himself and went into the battle. Now the king of Aram had commanded the 32 captains of his chariots, saying, Fight neither with small nor great, save only with the king of Israel. And it came to pass, when the captains of the chariots saw Jehoshaphat, that they said, Surely it is the king of Israel. And they turned aside to fight against him. And Jehoshaphat cried out. And it came to pass, when the captains of the chariots saw that it was not the king of Israel, that they turned back from pursuing him. And a certain man drew his bow at a venture, and smote the king of Israel between the lower armor and the breastplate. Therefore he said unto the driver of his chariot, Turn your hand, and carry me out of the host, for I am sore wounded. And the battle increased that day, and the king was stayed up in his chariot against the Arameans, and died at even. And the blood ran out of the wound into the bottom of the chariot. And there went a cry throughout the host about the going down of the sun, saying, Every man to his city, and every man to his country. So the king died, and was brought to Samaria. And they buried the king in Samaria. And they washed the chariot by the pool of Samaria. And the dogs licked up his blood. The harlots also washed themselves there, according unto the word of the Lord which he spoke. Now the rest of the acts of Ahab, and all that he did, and the ivory house which he had built, and all the cities that he had built, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? So Ahab slept with his father. Ahaziah his son reigned in his stead. And Jehoshaphat the son of Asa began to reign over Judah in the 4th year of Ahab the king of Israel. And Jehoshaphat was 35 years old when he began to reign. And he reigned 25 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Azubah, the daughter of Shilhi. And he walked in all the way of Asa his father, and he turned not aside from it, doing that which was right in the eyes of the Lord. However, the high places were not taken away, and the people still sacrificed and offered in the high places. And Jehoshaphat made peace with the king of Israel. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat, and his might that he showed, and how he warred, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And the remnant of the Sodomites that remained in the days of his father Asa, he put away out of the land. And there was no king in Edom. A deputy was king. And Jehoshaphat made ships of Tarshish to go to Ophir for gold. But they went not, for the ships were broken at Ezion-Geber. Then said Ahaziah, the son of Ahab, unto Jehoshaphat, Let my servants go with your servants in the ships. Jehoshaphat would not. And Jehoshaphat slept with his fathers, and was buried with his fathers in the city of David his father. And Jehoram his son reigned in his stead. And Ahaziah the son of Ahab began to reign over Israel in Samaria in the 17th year of Jehoshaphat king of Judah. And he reigned 2 years over Israel. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. And he walked in the way of his father, and in the way of his mother, and in the way of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, wherein he made Israel to sin. And he served Baal, and worshipped him, and provoked the Lord, the God of Israel, according to all that his father had done. Okay, let's go back to verse 1. Finishing this first book of Kings today with this 22nd chapter. Now witness God's redemption. Now, yesterday had the story of Naboth and his vineyard there, how they did commit murder in order to conquer that vineyard, take that vineyard over. And today we're going to have another story, and this story is about the enlightened ones and this little battle that they're going to have against the enlightened ones. And they continued, verse 1, 3 years without war between Aram and Israel. And Aram is these enlightened ones, and so now there's 3 years, these 3 circles, this complete understanding Verse 2, and it came to pass in the 3rd year that Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, came down to the king of Israel. So now, after this 3 years' time of there's been peace with what was the king of Ben-Hadad and his 32 kings, and we remember those. Now this was that one that was dedicated now for this destruction. 3. And the king of Israel said unto his servants, Know you that Ramoth Gilead is ours, and we are still, and take it not out of the hand of the king of Aram? So now the king of Israel, Ahab, my father's brother, he's the king over Israel still, and he's telling everybody. He says, Don't you know that Ramoth Gilead belongs to us, and we ain't doing nothing about it, and we ain't went up there to take it back? And Ramoth Gilead is this high place, this place made high, and it's of Gilead, and Gilead are this heaps of stones that witness. And underneath each one of these heaps of stones, we know what's there. Because Joshua piled the stones up over them in the gates of the cities, and that's what we're talking about. Even though this reference is into the Jacob and the agreement him and Laban made when they piled up the stones there as a witness between him and Laban. And he said unto Jehoshaphat, Will you go with me to battle to Ramoth Gilead? And Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, I am as you are, my people as your people, my horses as your horses. So now the king of Israel is wanting a little help from Jehoshaphat. God does judge. And he says, Will you go with me up here to this high place and help me take it? And Jehoshaphat says to the king, Yes, I will. My people are your people, and my horses are your horses, or my strengths are your strengths. And 5, and Jehoshaphat said unto the king of Israel, Inquire, I pray you, at the word of the Lord today. Now, we know, because Jehoshaphat, he does follow after God. He follows God and the understanding and the law of God. Of course, there is sin in Judah. Inquire, I pray you, at the word of the Lord, he asks. 6, the king of Israel gathered the prophets together, about 400 men, and said unto them, Shall I go up against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And they said, Go up, for the Lord will deliver it into the hand of the king. So now the king of Israel, he's called his prophets. Of course, these are all prophets of Baal. They don't serve God. They serve Baal, and this Baal is this Lord image they've made for themselves. This image they've made up. It's not real. So he calls his prophets. There's 400 of them now. This is the work of judgment of men. See, God's got them working this judgment. God's got them working this example. This is the whole story in a nutshell, all the way through. 7, and they're telling these prophets, these not prophets, these ones of Baal are telling the king, now, yeah, go up. For the Lord will deliver. They're speaking in the name of God, prophets of Baal. But Jehoshaphat said, Is there not here besides a prophet of the Lord that we might ask of him? So Jehoshaphat, he knows that these ain't prophets of God. These are prophets of Baal. And he wants to know if there's a prophet of the true God here, that we can ask him. 8, and the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, There is yet one man for whom we may inquire of the Lord, Micaiah, the son of Imlah. But I hate him, for he doth not prophesy good concerning me, but evil. And Jehoshaphat said, Let not the king say so. So Jehoshaphat wants to know if there's a prophet of God around here. And the king of Israel, Ahab, tells him, Hey, there's one man. Now, this man's going to be the beginning, too, now. So we want to listen to him. And his name is Micaiah. And it means who is like God. It's very similar to Michal. But it's Micaiah, who is like God. And it's in a question form now. Not to say to be like God, but to say who is like unto God. And he is the son of Imlah. And this means those who God has filled up. Now, the king of Israel don't like him because he's got nothing nice to say about Ahab. And we know the prophets of God don't, because he is a servant of Baal. 9. Then the king of Israel called an officer and said, "Fetch quickly Micaiah, the son of Imlah." Ahab has sent one of his officers and said, "Go get Micaiah, the son of Imlah." 10. Now the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, sat each on his throne, arrayed in their robes, in the threshing floor, at the entrance of the gate of Shamariah, and all the prophets prophesied before them. So here they are. They're all decked out in their robes that make them look important. Of course, that don't make them any smarter. Now, and they're all sitting there, and they're at the threshing floor. And this threshing floor is where the harvest is brought in. And whatever's necessary, if it has to be beaten with a rod, it's beaten with a rod. If it has to be threshed with an instrument, it's threshed out. If it has to be ground under the cart, it's ground under the cart. But this is the place where it's done. And it's right at the entrance of this place of the dregs. And all the prophets now, they're there prophesying before them. And these are all the prophets of Baal. There ain't no prophets of God, just this one that they went to get. And Zedekiah, 11, the son of Kenaanah, made him horns of iron, said, "Thus saith the Lord, with these shalt you gore the Arameans until they be consumed." So now Zedekiah, he's this righteous of God, the one, those that think they're righteous of God. He's the son of Kenaanah, and these are those that have been traded. They was traded off down in the flesh place, because that's what's going to happen. They're going to be traded off. And he's making him a little show. He's done made him some horns of iron. They ain't real horns. They're horns obviously made by the hand of a man. They're made out of iron. And these are in reference to some kind of strength. I guess this false strength, this image of a strength. And he's putting on a little show. He's saying, "With these shall you gore the enlightened ones, and until they be consumed." And he's running around there, going around with these horns, and they're not real. He's just putting on a show. He's acting like he's some great prophet sent by God, and all he is an idiot. 12. And all the prophets prophesied so, saying, "Go up to Ramoth Gilead and prosper, for the Lord will deliver it into the hand of the king." So, they're all the prophets now. They got Zedekiah there running around with the horns on his head there. And the prophets are all prophesying, saying, "Yeah, go up to Ramoth Gilead, this high place where the stones witness, these heaps of stones, for the Lord will deliver it into the hand of the king." So they're all saying, "Yeah, go on up there. Go, go, go." 13. And the messenger that went to call Micaiah spoke unto him, saying, "Behold now, the words of the prophets declare good in the king with one mouth. Let your word, I pray you, be like the word of one of them, and speak you good." So this messenger, he gets to Micaiah's house, and he's telling him, "Look, all these prophets are prophesying this, and you need to prophesy the same thing. They're all saying this with one mouth, with one accord, but you don't go up there saying something different." And we know they're all back there running around and prophesying and making fools of themselves. Micaiah said, "As the Lord lives, what the Lord says unto me, that will I speak." And we will remember now, we haven't read this yet, but now this is something that the same as Balaam said when he went up to prophesy against the children of Israel. He had no choice now. This false prophet, he had no choice. When God takes control of the tongue, he takes control. 15. And he went, and when he was come to the king, and when he was come to the king said unto him, "Micaiah, shall we go to Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall we forbear?" And he answered him, "Go up and prosper, and the Lord will deliver it into the hand of the king." So when Micaiah gets there, he tells him the same thing the prophets are saying, just like they told him to do. 16. And the king said unto him, How many times shall I adjure you that you speak unto me nothing but the truth in the name of the Lord? So now the king's telling Micaiah, he said, how many times am I going to warn you? How many times am I going to tell you with warning? Don't talk to me unless you're telling me the truth from God. 17, he said, I saw all Israel scattered upon the mountains as sheep that have no shepherd. And the Lord said, These have no master. Let them return every man to his house in peace. So now Micaiah is telling him the truth. He wants to know the truth, and he's going to tell him the truth. He says, I saw all Israel scattered upon the mountains as sheep that have no shepherd. And the Lord said, Let these have no master. Let them return every man to his house in peace. So now Micaiah, these mountains, they represent these high places. These mountains, though, are the places where God give now to the sheep to be watched over. And these sheep are the flock of God. And God is going to scatter the sheep. He says, I will scatter you. And this is the sheep we're talking about. God says, they have no master. Let them go back to the house. 18. And the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, Did I not tell you that he would not prophesy good concerning me, but evil? So Ahab's telling Jehoshaphat now. He says, I told you this is what he would do. And he said, Therefore hear you the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by him on his right hand, on his left. So Micaiah now, he's done opened his mouth, and he's going to go on and let him have it. And he's telling them now, I saw God sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven were standing on his right hand and on his left. Standing on his right for his work and on his left for his judgment now. Because he's using you. God's going to do this because, see, you've turned from God and you're sinning. And all the Lord said, 20, Who shall entice Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and another said on that. So now God's sitting on his throne. He's got all the host of heaven now on his right hand, on his left. He's got everybody working for him. He said, Now who will go up from me to Ramoth Gilead, this high place, where the stones shall witness, and entice, lure my brother, my father's brother, that he might fall? And there came forth the Spirit, 21, and stood before the Lord, and said, I will entice him. And so now we got a spirit, and he's come out before the Lord, and he says, I'll do it for you. 22, and the Lord said unto him, In what manner? Wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lion spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, You shall entice him, and you shall prevail also. Go forth and do so. So now the Spirit has told God, God's asking him, how are you going to do it? And he says, I'll go forth as a lying spirit in the mouth of his prophets. I'll go forth as the false prophet now in the mouth of all his prophets. And God liked that idea, and he said, You shall entice him, and you shall prevail. Go forth and do so. Now we see what God just told him to do. Yes, you will, and yes, go. Now therefore, behold, 23. The Lord hath put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these your prophets, and the Lord has spoken evil concerning you. So, and we're going to find out. This is an example, and this is where we're at today. All these speak lies, and all of them are just lying prophets. They have no understanding. Who sent them? Where'd they come from? Out of the association? Out of those associated with? Listen to the Word of God. Listen to what God's telling you. He's warning you. He's done this work. He's done this. He's made this example. Witness. 24. Then Zedekiah the son of Kenanah came near and smote Micaiah on the cheek, and said, Which way went the Spirit of the Lord from me to speak unto you? So now this Zedekiah, he's the son of Kenanah. Zedekiah is the righteous, those righteous of Yah, I think. And Kenanah he's traded. He's those that have been traded off in the flesh. He comes up and he just slaps Micaiah on the face. He says, Which way went the Spirit of the Lord from me to speak unto you? Of course, Micaiah, now, who is like God, he is very merciful and he's patient now. And he said, 25, Behold, you shall see on that day, when you shall go into an inner chamber to hide yourself. See, because Micaiah is telling him what's coming. See, you're going to have to go hide yourself. And you'll know that day which way it went, which way that spirit went that told you to speak. You'll know that day when your words don't come to pass, when the city's falling down around you, and you're trying to find a place to hide, and there is no place to hide. Neither will any regard. 26, And the king of Israel said, Take Micaiah, and carry him back unto Amon, the governor of the city, and to Joash, the king's son. So now Ahab's telling him, Take Micaiah and carry him back to Amon. Amon is master workman. He is the workman of great skill. He's the governor now of the city. And to Joash is given by the Lord. He's the king's son. And we'll find out about him here before long. 27, And say, Thus saith the king, Put this fellow in prison, and feed him with scant bread and scant water until I come in peace. So Ahab's telling him now, he's sending him with the messenger to put him in prison now. Put him down in the dungeon and feed him with just a little morsels of bread and just drops of water. Scant, very little, just barely enough to sustain him till I come in peace. So they're going to hold him there till he returns. 28, Micaiah said, If you return at all in peace, the Lord has not spoken by me. And he said, Hear you people, all of you. So we got Micaiah, and he's throwing out now the prophecies here of the end. And he's telling them now, if you come back at all, God didn't speak by me. He's telling now, everybody listen to this. 29, So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, went up to Ramoth Gilead. So here they go. They going to trust in their prophecy, and they're heading up there to Ramoth Gilead. There's the high place, and there's where these stones are going to witness to us too. 30, And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, I will disguise myself and go into the battle, but put you on your robes. And the king of Israel disguised himself and went into the battle. Now Ahab knows they're hunting him. They don't like him. And so he tells Jehoshaphat, I'm going to disguise myself, but you put on your robes and stuff and make everybody know you're the king. So he did that. He disguised himself. They went on up in there to the battle. Now king of Aram had commanded the 30 and 2 captains of his chariots, saying, Fight neither with small nor great, except only with the king of Israel. So now these 32 captains that have replaced the kings, now witness this. These are those ones that are dedicated. These are the dedicated witness. They are the captains of these chariots, these places where they stand in this place now. And they control the reins from here. They step up and behind it. 32, And it came to pass when the captains of the chariots saw Jehoshaphat that they said, Surely it is the king of Israel. And they turned aside to fight against him, and Jehoshaphat cried out. So now, of course, the kings commanded them, these captains, to find only the king and kill him. And they've seen this robe on Jehoshaphat now, and they're chasing him down. They're going to kill him. And he cries out. And when they hear his voice and get close enough to recognize, and they see it's not him, 33, and it came to pass when the captains of the chariots saw that it was not the king of Israel, that they turned back from pursuing him. So they took off from chasing Jehoshaphat now, because they see that he's not the one they want. 34, and a certain man drew his bow at a venture, and smote the king of Israel between the lower armor and the breastplate. Wherefore he said unto the driver of his chariot, Turn your hand and carry me out of the host, for I am sore wounded. So it was just a lucky shot. Just some man out of the whole force there, in a lucky shot, an arrow caught him right between the lower armor and his breastplate, right above the old diaphragm muscle in the solar plexus. And he's told his driver now, the one that steers his chariot, take me out of the battle. I've been hit. 35, and the battle increased that day. And the king was stayed in his chariot against the Arameans, and died at even, and the blood ran out of the wound into the bottom of the chariot. So Ahab's been killed in the battle, and the battle got worse as the day went on. See, and he couldn't get out of his chariot. He just clumped down there in it, and the Arameans are fighting all around him, and he dies now about the time the sun goes down. And the blood's ran all out of him, and it's all in the bottom of his chariot, this place where he used to stand and steer. 36, and there went a cry throughout the host about the going down of the sun, saying, every man to his city, and every man to his country. So the sun's going down, and it's getting late, and they've been fighting now. And somebody yells, back to the house, retreat, and all the armies break up and go back home. 37, so the king died and was brought to Samaria, and they buried the king in Samaria. And this now is going to be where they bury Ahab, my father's brother, in this place of the dregs, Samaria. 38, and they washed the chariot by the pool of Samaria. And the dogs licked up his blood, and the harlots also washed themselves there, according to the word of the Lord which he spoke. Well, remember, Eliah told him what was going to happen to him. Told him the dogs would lick up his blood, just like they licked up the blood of Naboth. Whereas they stole even your blood, he said. And that's what's going on here. But I want you to see something else. These harlots now also washed themselves there, because this is the pool there. This is where the waters pool up. These are them waters there at this place of dregs. And there do the harlots wash themselves. And who are these harlots? These harlots here are those that go into idolatry. Those that take part of idolatry, that go after these teachings of men, that don't listen to the law of God, that don't listen to God and his word. 39, now the rest of the acts of Ahab, and all that he did, and the ivory house which he built, and all the cities that he built, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel? Yeah, we will probably find some further witness of him there when we get there. But this ivory house, this house made white, this house built out of that which is white, that he built for himself. 40, so Ahab slept with his fathers, and Ahaziah, his son, reigned in his stead. So Ahab's dead, and now Ahaziah, his son, is going to take over. And Ahaziah means those that have been seized by God, those that God's taken over. And we're going to find that that's what happened, remember? God's traded them. God traded them. Remember? God traded them. Him for him, and his people for his people, when he let go the man that was devoted for destruction. 42, Jehoshaphat was 35 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 25 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Azubah, the daughter of Shilhi. And now we're going to switch over to Jehoshaphat, and we're using the time period of Ahav, his reign, to fix this time period. And Jehoshaphat, he was 35 years old when he began to reign. Now, this grace is dedicated, and this understanding, this is the circles of it. And he reigned 25 years. For redemption does come through the understanding of grace. And these are also the circles of it. And he reigned in Jerusalem, this place of the teachings of peace. His mother's name is Azubah. Azubah is forsaken. Forsaken in that it's a place desolate that is forgotten. And she is the daughter of Shilhi, and this is a weapon that's used. And this is basically what it's going to be. God is going to set this desolate place as a weapon used. And he walked in all the way of Asa his father, and he turned not aside from it, doing that which was right in the eyes of the Lord. So now Ahaziah, he is the son of Jehoshaphat, and he was the son of Asa, and he continues now, just in the ways that he has done. Jehoshaphat is the son of Asa, and he follows God in all of his ways. 44, however, the high places were not taken away. The people still sacrificed and offered in the high places. And we're going to find out these high places are the places where the people used to go because they wasn't being properly instructed by God, wasn't being properly instructed by the law of God. Those who were given to properly instruct by the law, according to the law, to make everything correct in the eyes of God. But now because they suffered the people to sin, this contender was sent, these kings in the first place, and we see that it's very much staying out of order. They don't know how to properly worship God, so these high places come up. We have them everywhere today. There's nothing changed. Nothing's ever going to change till they put away this devoted thing which they've taken for themselves. 45, and Jehoshaphat made peace with the king of Israel. So Jehoshaphat now, he is the one who made peace with Ahav. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat, 46, and his might that he showed and how he warred, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Judah? Yes, they are, and we will find further witness of Jehoshaphat there. This one, God is the judge. God has judged. And the remnant of the Sodomites that remained in the days of his father Asa, he put away out of the land. So Jehoshaphat finishes off getting the Sodomites out of the land. We won't go into great deal, but these were the ones that was left over from Sodom, these that practiced their fertility rituals. He finishes running them out of the land. They're still here. They're still around, though. We have them everywhere today. 48, and there was no king in Edom. A deputy was king. And this Edom is these that show blood in the flesh, these that are red. They got no king right now, but they've got a deputy for a king, and this deputy is just one who's stationed there. He's one stationed there, positioned for this purpose instead of the king. 49, Jehoshaphat made ships of Tarshish to go to Ophir for gold, but they went not, for the ships were broken at Ezion-Geber. And so Jehoshaphat had made some ships, and he was going to go to Tarshish. Tarshish is the place of the yellow stone. It looks like gold, but it's not. It's jasper. And he's made these ships for the purpose of going to Ophir, these golden rings, to get some gold. But his ships got broken up there at the spine of man, these mountains that look like the backbone of a man. 50, then said Ahaziah, the son of Ahav, unto Jehoshaphat, let my servants go with your servants into the ships. But Jehoshaphat would not. So Ahaziah, those that were seized of God, wanted to go with Jehoshaphat after he'd built these ships. But Jehoshaphat wouldn't let him. Jehoshaphat maybe was afraid they would get too much wealth. 51, and Jehoshaphat slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of David his father. And Jehoram his son reigned in his stead. So now Jehoshaphat's going to die. And my father's judge, he is going to leave in his stead Jehoram. And Jehoram is, God is exalted. God is exalted. He's going to become the new king. And we'll see they bury Jehoshaphat now in the city of David, Milo, even Zion. 52, Ahaziah, the son of Ahab, began to reign over Israel and Samaria in the 17th year of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, and he reigned 2 years over Israel. Now understand these circles. Understand these circles. Understand these years. This will be the reign of Ahaziah. He's the son of Ahab. And he's going to reign in Samaria, this place of the dregs. And it was during the 17th year now, the perfection of the law and understanding, that he began to reign. So we're going to switch back and forth now, and back and forth from one foot to the other, like a man walking. 53, and he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, and he walked in the way of his father, and in the way of his mother, and in the way of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, wherein he made Israel to sin. And we know what that was. He built images and built this fake altar. See? Where everybody would go and offer and pollute, and they wasn't worshiping God correctly. And he continues in this way. And that's why he won't have a very long reign. That's what his mama did. That's what his mama was Jezebel. She caused all the nations to question the exalted. Ahab, my father was his brother, was his father. He's just like his mom and dad. 54, and he served Baal and worshipped him and provoked the Lord, the God of Israel, according to all that his father had done. So we're going to see nothing's changing. Nothing's changing. This great punishment's come from God into their house and in their life. The prophets spoke, and that's what happened. But no one's going to listen. No one's going to listen. They're going to keep on going just like they was going. Serving Baal, serving this image of the Lord they've made, provoking God to anger. See, that's why he scattered you now in all the nations of the earth. And you still ain't woke up. You still don't understand these things. We're going to try to wake you up, though. We're going to try to shake the cage. The door's open. We just want you to come out. All right. All right. We're going to move on to 2 Kings chapter 1.